Welcome to Melt. I'm Suresh Venkat. Starbucks recently celebrated its 10-year anniversary in the country. There's a new brand campaign, ever-ready expansion plans, and also a call to localize the menu even more for Indian taste buds. To know more, we're in conversation today with Deepa Krishnan at Starbucks India. So, let's understand the marketing strategy that drives a global brand in India as we get ready to melt with Deepa Krishnan. Deepa, it's been 10 years since Starbucks came to India, a country famous for its preference for tea over coffee. How have things changed in the last 10 years? Have you managed to convince India to start drinking coffee?
So things have changed a lot. In fact, I'm really happy to tell you that the growth of the coffee industry in India is around 8 to 10%. And this is really the tip of the iceberg, and we're going to see huge amounts of growth going ahead. The fundamental changes have been, as follows. I think when we came into India 10 years back, people had started drinking coffee and they were thinking of it almost as a wake-me-up beverage. So it was very functional. But a lot of millennials and Gen Z, which is luckily our large customer base, look at coffee for multiple things. It's become part of their hangout culture. You have coffee to write your famous novel or script. You have coffee over work meetings. You bond over coffee. So the whole cafe culture, fueled, of course, by the huge amount of millennials and Gen Z in India, has become really big. And I think, we can take pride in having redefined it to a certain extent and creating the third place experience. I think the other thing that has happened is our consumers, of course, very well traveled and have a global outlook. So we see customers wanting the best of international coffee as well as some locally grown coffees. And once again, we try and bring coffees from all the three coffee growing regions in the world, whether it's Latin America, Asia Pacific, Africa, and of course, we're very proud of our Indian coffees as well, like the India Estate Blend and the Diwali Blend. So I think all in all, it's been a fantastic ride and we've enjoyed the journey so far and we hope to do much more going forward.
Deepa, let's move on to one of your recent campaigns, the most recent campaign, in fact, hashtag it starts with your name. What is the consumer insight that prompted this campaign?
So let me take you back to our brand mission, which is to inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one cup, one neighborhood at a time. When you walk into any Starbucks, we're sitting in the Starbucks right now, you will notice that the barista will greet you with a smile. They'll ask you your name and, your name will be written on the beverage. Your name will be called out with the name of your beverage. So right from the beginning, the focus of the organization and this brand has been fair and square on the customer. And I think it starts with your name is a fair extension of that. The big thing is at Starbucks, we don't see our customers as a number or just a customer. We see them as people. And knowing your name, knowing somebody's name is really the starting of a deep relationship going forward. And that's what we wanted to embrace and celebrate. I mean, how can you have a relationship with somebody whose name you don't even know, right? So it starts with your name is really an ode to the Starbucks brand ethos of getting to know every customer at a personal level, starting with their name and knowing all facets of their life, then what beverage they like, how they like it. And it's really a celebration of the deep connection we have with our customers.
And what's been your learnings from this campaign?
So I think people have received it very positively. Our customers are loving the fact that it's somehow managed to beautifully encapsulate a global ritual of a brand with a very Indian ethos and spin to it. In India, we all have our nicknames and pet names, right, from what our families call us, to what our work colleagues call us, to what your spouse calls you, for example. And it's really integrated the two very beautifully. So we've received an overwhelmingly positive response so far and, makes us feel that we're in the right direction.
Now let's talk about the ritual itself.
Yeah.
Starbucks, I think, is unique in the fact that it asks you for your name when you enter. They write your name on a cup. And I always found this practice to be curious. What if they mispronounce your name? Because there's a whole variety of names and an even larger variety of pronunciations.
Yeah.
And your staff can't possibly know every pronunciation in the world. So when they get it wrong, does the customer smile? Does the customer get angry? What's the trade-off here between getting it right and wrong?
So the first part of the question is it started with just recognizing the customer, because we always say we're not in the coffee business. We're in the people business serving coffee. And when you're in the people business, it's all about the deep connections that you form, right? So that was really the whole reason for having this. And of course, going back to our brand mission of putting the customer really front and center and inspiring their soul. You can't do that without a deep understanding. Now, to the second part of your question, if our baristas do get the name wrong, they will always apologize to the customer and get the spelling right, the name right. In fact, we find that it starts interesting conversations. It starts a great moment of connection where there is, a laugh that is exchanged over the counter, and then the customer says, "Hey, no, maybe it's
How do I pronounce
pronounced
your
or
name? Or
written
what
as
does your name mean?
XYZ."
Or
Yeah.
stuff like
And it's the starting of a relationship. So that's the way we look at it.
that. Okay. The other piece of news that caught our attention is when your CEO announced the launch of the vegan menu at Starbucks. Tell us about the marketing thinking behind this decision.
So, we've had plant-based milk for quite some time now, whether it's soy, oat, or almond. And this has again come up with customer demand, and our customers have been asking us for vegan options. So we've launched 3 SKUs in 8 cities in close to 60 stores. This is in partnership with Imagine Meats. And this is really about 2 things. One is really giving customers what they want, and also taking forward our sustainability agenda, because we're very big as an organization on sustainability. So it really checks both the boxes to my mind. The whole launch, of course, was done in a very interesting, light-hearted manner. We didn't want to make it a very serious kind of a launch. We wanted to make it something which customers will embrace very naturally. And the success that we've seen for the product is something that we're quite proud of, and we will continue this initiative.
Now let's talk about the fickle consumer palette. Now you operate 270 plus stores in 30 plus cities. That's a lot of stores in a lot of cities. And many analysts say that India is a different country every 100 kilometers. Tastes change, cultures change, masalas change, palettes change. Now, how do you build a brand that's literally based on a uniformity of taste or a standardization of taste across such a diverse country?
You're right. I mean, we operate 278 stores in 30 cities right now. I think some things of the Starbucks brand are universally liked across the world. I mean, across the world, we are present in 80 countries. So there's obviously something working at a universal level. What's that? Well, it's the fact that we get some of the best quality coffee from across the world. We are known for the third place experience that we provide our customers. And we're also known for the very deep connect our partners, our baristas are able to form with our customers. So that's universal, and that's what's really liked. Where we localize is, one is the ambience of our store is always localized. So in every city, you'll find local nuances. In Mumbai, our ambience will romance the Mumbai rains, the Mumbai Dabbawala, and the famed fisher folk of Mumbai. In Guwahati, you may have local art and craft that is celebrated. The other thing is the connect is always local, right? Because our baristas are recruited from the local population. So the connect that they're able to form with our customers is very local. And of course, in terms of product, we innovate and we localize to the extent possible. For example, we have the Alfonso Mango Frappuccino that we've introduced. We've introduced a Thandai Frappuccino as an ode to Holi. And we have a lot of local introductions, like in the north, for example, you'll have the Chole Paneer Kulcha. In the east, you have the Tiramisu Chom Chom. In the west, we've experimented with wraps. In Gujarat, with Chunda, and so on and so forth. Currently, in the south, we have a Malabari wrap and a Malabari egg croissant. What more can you ask for, right? So it's a fine balance of celebrating what you're known for internationally and developing what you want to locally.
So Deepa, we are sitting in a Starbucks right now, and if this was the only outlet that you ran, making changes is not that difficult. You can introduce an item, you can drop an item, you can experiment at will. You recently introduced masala chai and filter coffee into your Starbucks. Just take us through how complex a decision this is when you have to think about 270 plus stores or even more. What does it mean for supply chain? What does it mean for training? What does it mean for marketing?
So we've introduced the masala chai and the filter coffee in 4 cities, which is Bengaluru, Indore, Bhopal, and Gurgaon. I think once you're clear about what you want to do, it's not very difficult to do it, because think of it, we are the experts in the area of coffee. Our parent company has a lot of expertise with tea. So it's not very difficult from a logistic point of view to do it. It's about getting it right. And we were very clear that if we were to introduce masala chai and filter coffee, we want to be authentic. So the masala chai that you will have in these stores will be as good as probably your wife makes it or you make it at home. Similarly, the filter coffee, we've tried to stay as authentic as possible, because this is really a case for localization and not trying to, mess around with flavor, etc. So masala chai, we have 2 variations. We have the cardamom tea and the masala chai. So it wasn't a very difficult decision from an implementation point of view, once we were very clear that we wanted to go down this route.
And how do you know if you're getting it right or wrong, this reading of this fickle consumer palette?
So one, of course, we have robust tastings that we do inside the organization as well as with customers. And to that extent, I think masala chai and filter coffee is something which all of us have grown up with, right? So we kind of know what will make that successful. It's not an innovation in that sense. It's about giving customers the comfort that they desire in a Starbucks store. So to that extent, I think it was made possible by testing and our understanding of the market.
Do your customers see Starbucks as sort of premium, expensive brand? Because the coffee is expensive. 200 rupees plus for a coffee in India is considered expensive. And are you comfortable with that positioning?
I think this is a little misconstrued because I don't think customers are looking at price hierarchy sometimes the way marketers tend to. I think they look at value. And if they're getting the right value for the price that they're paying, I think they're quite happy. In our case, we're very clear we want to give our customers the best possible coffee. We source the top 3% Arabica from across the world. We want them to have a fantastic experience in our stores, and our customers certainly see value, from that. In fact, I'm very happy to tell you that Starbucks is the most loved coffee brand in India. This is a brand equity study that we've done. So we don't think that there is, that customers are really saying that this is expensive compared to the value that we get. And I think that's a misnomer.
So it's value. It's not just price that we should look at.
I think it should be the whole experience, right?
But now you are introducing smaller sizes, I imagine, at lower price points. What does this do to the brand?
So once again, let me take you back to why we've done that. Our current sizes start from an 8 ounce. And going back to the consumer, like I said, everything starts and ends with the consumer. We heard a lot of consumers telling us, hey, we'd like slightly smaller sizes. More so for tea and coffee, because those categories, you know how we have it at home, right? We do have it in smaller cups. That necessitated us launching a 6 ounce, which is a shorter size. And obviously, therefore, it comes at a lower price point. So this is clearly an ode to stay true to the product formulation, the product category that we're trying to get into. And yes, we are launching a new size called Pico, which is really the 6 ounce size. In other formats as well. For example, you can enjoy a Pico, latte or a cappuccino in these 4 markets, which is Bengaluru, Indore, Bhopal and Gurgaon. And the idea over there, of course, is to appeal to a new set of customers and a new set of customers who would like to experience Starbucks.
Deepa, a little while ago, you said you're not in the coffee business, you're in the people business. And I would argue you're in the experience business. But during the pandemic, all experiences were shut down and delivering coffee home is not quite the same thing. Did you then have to reinvent yourself, say, now we're a coffee business and not a people business or an experience business anymore?
The last 2 years have actually reinforced the fact that we're in the people business and in the experience business. So there was a brief period for which stores were completely shut. And we, of course, amped our delivery offerings. We did a lot of work on delivery, improved our packaging, the delivery experience. And we found that people were missing Starbucks so much that they wanted to then, order it on delivery. What we did is took the Starbucks experience to them home. So we would write personalized messages on their delivery bags and cups to stay connected. One of the interesting things for which we also won a global award, which we did, was the Reconnect with Starbucks campaign, where we sent 2,500 barista recorded messages to customers on their Instagram, calling out their name and their beverage. So, you'd probably get something on your DM saying, Suresh, here's a tall Americano for you. And that was the way we kept the connection alive, and consumers loved it.
Okay.
When the pandemic eased, what we saw is people wanted to go out. They said, we'd rather go back to a Starbucks because we know that you guys will take care of sanitization, hygiene. We feel very, very safe over here. What the pandemic has certainly done, I would say, is made us pivot and become stronger in the 4th place. We've always been known as masters of the 3rd place.
So what is the 4th place? I know the 3rd place
is the digital, right? So, like I said, delivery for us pre-pandemic was around 4 to 5% contribution of top line. It's now around 13 to 15%. We made sure that customers could order their beverages on our mobile app. We were present in e-commerce in a big way. So I think that's something which has happened certainly in the pandemic. And, we're also concentrating on the 4th place.
Okay. Give us a sort of overview of your digital marketing strategy. What are the key pillars that your strategy stands on?
Well, our key pillar stands on 2 things. One is reaching the consumers in formats and ways in media that they are present in, and always being a brand which is a force for positivity and optimism and engagement. So that's what we base everything on. For this particular campaign, which is It Starts With Your Name, we've of course got a 360-degree campaign, which has digital, print, outdoor, radio, OTT, etc. And you'll see all of that, in the days to come. Through it all, in terms of our campaign strategy, it's all about how can we talk to the consumer one-on-one, how can we be engaged with them, and how can we transfer, in a sense, the Starbucks experience in all media.
I noticed you left out television in your mix that you said. Is there
Yeah.
a conscious decision not to go the television route?
It is, right? Because there's going to be a huge spill if we went through television for this particular campaign, because it's present in only 4 cities. Also, do remember that a large percentage of our TG are millennials and Gen Z, and we know where they all live. So it's extremely important for us to be where our customer wants us to be.
But even the other campaigns, we don't see too much of a TV spend. We see digital, we see outdoor, we see 360.
Yeah.
Why is TV missing in the Starbucks overall, let's say, media strategy?
Yeah. That's because our customers are largely digital natives.
And they don't
we
watch
find
TV? Young people
they
don't watch
do.
TV?
They of course do, but they are far more present on digital. And that's where we've decided to make an impact and mark.
Okay. What is the impending arrival of some rivals? Like, for instance, I think Tim Hortons is coming to India, Pret a Manger is coming to India. Do you see these brands as competition? Will they eat into your market share, or will they end up expanding the quiche, so to say?
So, like I was telling you in the beginning, we see that the coffee industry is going to grow by 8 to 10%. And we firmly believe that there is place for everyone. In fact, I'm happy that there is more competition, because there'll be more conversations around coffee, and I think we will all grow and expand the market together.
And what about these smaller artisanal coffee shops that we see in every neighborhood? A lot of local people swear by those shops. Does Starbucks see that as competition?
Well, like I was saying, we are, I think, uniquely poised to give our customers the best international coffee from across the 3, global growing regions of the world, and also the best coffee from India. So I think we have a fantastic combination going for us. And if this was not enough for you, we also have via instant coffee, right? So of course, there will be different segments in the market who will seek different things, for which there will be different offerings and answering. But I'm not unduly worried, because we really have one of the strongest portfolios going around.
So local artisanal coffee shops are not a threat to Starbucks per se?
I don't think so, because if we did not have the best of international coffee and we didn't have a robust offering of Indian coffees, we would be worried. Having said that, like I said, different customers will require different things. And I think there is always space for different players to flourish and grow. This industry is going to become big.
We see this in a lot of movies and TV shows. We see a quaint old neighborhood, and people say, if the big brands come here, the character of the neighborhood is going to change. As a marketer, do you ever think about those things? I know it's a joke when it's said on television or in a show, but as a marketer, do you take that seriously about a character of the nature of a neighborhood or the nature of a colony?
So we have always wanted to be a neighborhood store, right? So for us, our success is in becoming a neighborhood store. So we want to integrate with the neighborhood and give them a third place experience. In fact, a lot of the activities that we do in our stores are a reflection of the neighborhood. And in a sense, a neighborhood becomes our store, because you have, society gatherings, which will probably happen in our store, etc. So we've always said that we will grow and flourish if we become a neighborhood store. So this is not really contrarian to what we hold as a belief.
Okay. So how can Starbucks be both this global giant conglomerate, 80 countries, presumably thousands of outlets? At the same time, how can it be a little neighborhood store? In terms of strategy, how do you juggle these two, let's say a telescope and a microscope at the same time?
So to answer it in your language, the telescope is really the coffee, the connection with the partners and the store ambience. I think those things we would always want to take from the global experience. The microscope is to get the finer details right at every store. So how well do you know your customers inside a store? For example, in this store, do the baristas know all the customers who walk in? Are they able to form a very strong relationship with them? Are they able to cater to their events? Are they able to become part of the neighborhood events and activities that happen? So that's really the place where you kind of juggle between the two. It is a fine balance. It's an art and a science. But, so far we've got it right, and we hope the magic will continue.
And what are your consumers asking from you in terms of you being sustainable as a company, as a business? What are your millennial customers asking of you?
So I'll start by saying what we believe in first. As an organization, I'd say very simply, we see no conflict between doing what's right and what's right for business. So whether it's sustainability, our work in the area of community, we've always been at the forefront. So some of the things that we've done, for example, and this is also found resonance with consumers, is to ensure that we've eliminated single-use plastic. We have a wooden cutlery in the store. We have a scheme called BYOT, which is bring your own tumbler. So if you brought your own tumblers to the store, we'd give you a discount because we are all helping the planet in some way or the other. All our initiatives that we've done with respect to plant-based food or beverages, all of this is really in keeping with what we believe in as an organization, what consumers want. Starbucks globally has also made a commitment to reduce carbon footprint by 50% by 2030. So all of these are really in line with what we believe in as an organization. And we find, to your point, that a lot of our customers are also extremely conscious of the environment. They're extremely conscious of, the communities that we live in. So it's a beautiful marriage in that sense.
Last question, Deepa. What's your favorite order at a Starbucks?
Mine's actually a cortado.
From your name, I presume you are a South Indian?
That's right.
And how does this compare with homemade filter coffee?
I love the homemade filter coffee and I love the Starbucks filter coffee. You should try it if you're in Bengaluru.
On that note, Deepa Krishnan of Starbucks, thank you very much for talking to us at Melt.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers to you. And that's a wrap on this episode. You can follow Melt on social media. The handle is Ready to Melt, or simply log on to readytomelt.com. If you'd like to follow me, it's @Subank on Twitter. Till next week, goodbye and thanks for watching.